Episode number 209 of the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. Welcome to the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. Today I'm going to talk about something that is really centered to fertility health, and that is your womb. So there are definitely a lot of things that I do at my office as far as acupuncture goes, where we really put a lot of effort and attention towards the womb to heal the womb in many different ways. And that includes increasing blood flow and also through pathways and channels. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about 3 different ways that you can show your womb some love. Welcome to the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. I'm Michelle, a fertility acupuncturist here to provide you with resources on how to create a wholesome approach to your fertility journey. So 3 ways that you can show your uterus love. So I'll talk about the 3 different things that I'm going to mention today and just how important it really is energetically to think about how every part of your body is really alive and life really responds to consciousness. We see that with plants. We see that even with animals that don't necessarily have a means to communicate through words. So there's definitely this consciousness that life responds to, especially when you see it with plants. When people talk to plants or give plants a little bit more care, or even when plants listen to music, they really respond to vibrations. So the same goes for our cells. And also there have been some studies, a scientist, I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's the one who wrote Messages in the Water, and his name is Masaru Emoto. And he basically saw that even water, when it crystallizes, it'll crystallize in a certain way, and it looks different depending on the vibration, the words that it's being told, and the energy that it receives. So it could be people's prayers or words with a certain intention will actually show a completely different crystal when that water is frozen versus other words with the same exact water. So these are all the same exact waters. Same thing with music, classical music. For some reason, it really, I guess the way it's composed or put together, it tends to create these beautiful crystals. And what doesn't is actually really heavy metal. So it's interesting to actually look. You can probably find this online. You can find it online. If you go, I'm sure there's a lot of videos you can see on YouTube or just pictures and the images. If you look up Masaru, M-A-S-A-R-U, Emoto, E-M-O-T-O, and he wrote the book Messages, The Hidden Messages in Water. Very intriguing. So it just is one example of something that you would really not assume responds to our consciousness. And the point of me bringing this up is that if water can respond to consciousness and words, what do you think our cells do? How do you think our cells would respond? And how do you think your uterus would respond? So cells obviously make up organs. It's all living things that are functioning. So it is important to really take that time out. I think that just in general, like the collective consciousness, we're not aware of that power, the power that our intention can actually create and affect. And that's why we don't use it. I think that people don't realize that it is something real. And when people don't feel or understand that something's real, they usually won't use it. So typically that's usually how it happens, and you don't even think to use it because it's kind of like, well, what's the point? But there is obviously a very good point to doing it. So I'm going to talk about 3 different ways that you can show your uterus love. Now, I'm going to talk about different ways, not just your intention, but really some things that are physical to bring more blood flow to your uterus, which is really important, not just for the uterus, but it actually can also help your digestion. And digestion is really important when it comes to Chinese medicine. Digestion is the first step to creating blood in your body. So in order to get the nutrients that will feed your organs and the blood flow, you really start out with digestion. So proper digestion is effectively like what's going to help your blood building in your body, which is why if anybody has a compromised digestive system, or if they're eating foods that are depleting or causing inflammation, it's going to impact their blood flow, which is why you may hear a lot of people talking about how important digestion is when it comes to fertility health. It seems like a completely separate system of the body, but it's not. It's all part of the same thing. It's all one piece of the puzzle. So the first thing that I'm going to share is, and it's something that you can do at home, it's something so simple, is abdominal massage. And I highly recommend it to most of my patients. I just show them what to do in my office. You could do this so easily. And typically what I suggest is anchoring a new habit, which is the massage, to an old habit. So most of us shower every single day. If you're going to shower every day, some people moisturize after their shower. So when you're moisturizing, just use that time, and hopefully it's moisturizing with a cream or something that does not have parabens and is a clean product. But when you are moisturizing, that is when you can do the abdominal massage. And to just explain what to do, it's actually pretty simple. So you're not just doing it below the belly button, which is like the pelvis area. You're actually doing the whole thing. And what you can do is you can start out with a big circle and go clockwise. So exactly where the hands of the clock go, the direction that they go, you're doing that on your abdomen. So you start out by pushing or putting pressure in a circular motion, so in clockwise, and you'll start out with a big circle. So the biggest circle you can make without hitting the bones. So basically the bones, the outer bones that are around there, you'll find are the ribs, and you'll find the pelvic bones. So go around inside that area. So you're just on that edge, like as much on the edge as you can possibly be, where your abdomen is soft, so that you can actually push in. And then put as much pressure as you can handle, as is comfortable. You don't want to hurt yourself, but it starts to feel good actually. If you put pressure, it feels like a nice massage and it feels relaxing. You'll tend to feel that, and that's what you want. You want something that feels good, but also you feel is moving or doing something. So you start out with a large circle, and then slowly you start to get to go more inwards. So you go like really wide, and then you kind of go almost like rings. You go a little bit more in, until you really get to a small circle that surrounds your belly button. And then you could do it again. Start from large circle and then rings inside, and then you spiral inwards until you circle around your belly button. And you could do that up to 5 times or more, whatever you have time for or you're able to handle. And I suggest at least 5 times of that, so that you can really feel that it's doing something. And you're going to actually find it really relaxing, which is surprising because you're doing it for yourself. Sometimes people don't really think that a massage that they do on themselves is relaxing, but it actually does feel very relaxing. So that's the first part. Then you can do almost like an asterisk, but towards your belly button. So you can start out by the area right on the midline, like so right in your middle line, like aligned with your belly button. And you can start from the top right underneath your ribs. So right where it gets soft underneath your ribs. And then you can push down in a line from that area towards your belly button. And then you can go to the top of your pubic bone, and then make sure obviously you pee, because it's not going to be comfortable if you don't, and empty out that bladder. And then so from the pubic bone where it feels soft, bring it up. So you're pushing it in towards your belly button. And you could do that 5 times each. And then you can also do it from the side. So now it's almost like a plus sign. And then after that, you can also do it from diagonal. So kind of like on the side parts of your rib. It's like an asterisk. So the ones that are kind of off to the side, and also from your pelvic bones towards your belly button. So basically, you're drawing out an asterisk with the direction that you're doing it. And over time, just, you start to get used to it and you won't have to think twice. But just to get your energy moving. And a lot of those areas that you're doing are actually areas where the Chinese medicine channels run. And then when you're doing the circle, you're kind of getting more of a general area, and you're also impacting your digestive system. So you're getting blood flow everywhere. You're getting it to the pelvic area, you're getting it for your digestive system, but also your uterus. So doing this every single day can have an impact. So it's something that is also very calming, and you're going to find that it actually eases your emotions, and you'll feel a little less stressed. It's another tool to calm your nervous system. So that's number one. Number one is the massaging your abdomen every single day. And if you want, you can also do this at night when you're laying down. It might actually be easier. You could put some oil, maybe put some essential oils, and then do that, do the same exact thing that I just said. But if you're rushing and you just don't have realistic time to do this, then you could do it as you're getting out of the shower. You can even do it in the shower with soap if you're really rushing. So it's just another way to do something and implement it into your daily routine. And that's something that you can do easily and realistically. So number 2, breath of fire. So breath of fire is going to be hard to explain over this, over voice, but I would definitely say just look up breath of fire, and you're going to find a million videos on YouTube on how to do breath of fire. Watch a couple of them, but it's a really simple breath. And just think about your diaphragm. So your diaphragm is in your stomach area, like right above your stomach, underneath your ribs. And that's the area that you can contract as you're breathing out. So imagine put your hands on your abdomen, and as you exhale really sharply, you're going to find that your abdomen goes in quickly. So that's basically when that happens, your diaphragm contracts. And what you're focusing on really with breath of fire is that contraction. So you want to exhale really fast, and do this from your nose, not your mouth. So keep your mouth closed and exhale really fast from your nose. So you're putting the force more on the exhale, and then the inhale will just come back like a rubber band. It'll snap back naturally. So you're just focusing on the so you're finding that when you do that, you're contracting your abdomen as well. So you start to do this repetitive breath, and then the breath you'll start to feel it really strong in your stomach. So if you do this long enough, you will feel a burning sensation around your abdomen. And that's why it's called breath of fire. But it helps in so many different ways. It's really beneficial for your digestive system, just like the massage. And it's also really, really great for your abdomen, your pelvis, and all of that area to get the blood flow. And you're also getting tons of oxygen into your body because you're doing it so quickly. So you're infusing oxygen into your body a lot more than you would normally do when you're just breathing. And so that's another aspect of it. But it also creates, it's kind of like this skull shining, they call it. And it creates this opening in your consciousness, this awakeness, probably because you're getting a lot of oxygen, and it's creating like this activity in your system that you're usually not used to having. So it starts to awaken that, your digestive system, and awaken your brain because you're getting so much oxygen. And so that's why they call it skull shining. It's also really cleansing because you're removing a lot of the stagnation from your breath, that usually don't breathe out that forcefully. Usually we'll breathe in and out a lot more shallow, just left to our own devices. So doing that, you're actually cleansing. And you might even find yourself, if you're not used to doing this, coughing, and then things will start to come out. So it is a very cleansing breath. So breath of fire is something that I always suggest. Plus, on top of that, one of the ways of generating ATP, which is really good for egg health, is through oxygen. So doing this every single day, you're really getting a lot of life force vitality into your system. And also qi. We talk about qi, Chinese medicine. It's really life force vitality. Some people call it energy, but it's more than just energy. It's like this life force. It's something, or prana, as they call it in yogic traditions and Ayurveda. So that's number 2. Now, number 3 is really more of an intentional thing. It's something that has to do more with your mind. In Chinese medicine, I've talked about this before, there's a heart-uterus connection. There's literally an internal channel that connects the heart to the uterus. The heart has a role of opening the uterus. So I actually consider it to be something that's connected with both conception and also birth, because it's usually in birth, you'll find oxytocin increasing. Oxytocin is a love hormone. It's always been referred to as a love hormone, and it increases during birth. It actually creates contractions in the uterus, so it's kind of like an opening effect to allow for birth to happen. But what's interesting about oxytocin is it also, they found, increases around ovulation, and it also increases around orgasm. So if you think about that, why would that be? What's ovulation? What's orgasm? When do those two things happen? They happen when conception occurs. Okay, so you can't conceive if you're not around ovulation, and you also can't conceive without having sex. So like all of those things happen, and then oxytocin increases. So to me, it's kind of like this physiological proof that the love hormone, which usually is something that we feel in the heart, is the same hormone that opens the uterus to breathe life in, to bring life in. So I think that that's pretty fascinating, and it's kind of an interesting connection that I have noticed, although it hasn't been studied as much in regards to fertility as it has been for, the connection that it has, and also, the fact that it opens or creates a cascade of events for birth and labor. So according to Chinese medicine, your heart houses the mind. So any kind of emotional patterns or psychological patterns are either impacted by your heart's energy or can impact your heart's energy. So whether you have trauma, that can impact your heart energy. And then if you have a stagnation, say in your heart chi, that can impact how you feel. So it's kind of like this back and forth. They work on both ends. Both can impact each other. So a lot of people who have any kind of heart imbalances will feel things like anxiety or some kind of depression. They're going to feel it emotionally. So going through certain meditations like loving kindness can help get those emotions regulated. It can impact the heart energy. So loving kindness is, or it's called also meditation, is something that in Buddhism is practiced often. And it's really, to me, it's kind of like a little bit of a forgiveness meditation as well, because you can start out with yourself. You start out really wishing well for yourself. And there's many different ways to say it. You can say, may I be free from suffering. May I have a long life. Whatever, you can change it. People say like different ways. You don't have to do it like one specific way, but you're basically wishing well for yourself. May I be healthy, may I be well, may I be happy, etc. And you say the same thing as you say to yourself, then you move on to people that you really love. And then you move on to people that you love, and then people who you really like, and then people who you like, and so on. You're getting the picture. So basically you just keep going on outwards almost like a ring. Again, you're starting to see it within yourself is like you're the center, and then it moves on. And with this type of meditation, I always suggest to start out really cultivating, like starting from yourself and the people that you really love, and maybe the people that you love and like, and that's it. And then eventually, because you're cultivating this energy, and you will feel kind of like this warm and fuzzy feeling. And you can think about like when you're holding a puppy, or, having that like warm and fuzzy feeling, you really feel a sensation that is very comforting. So cultivating that feeling and wishing well for them. And over time, you're starting to cultivate it. You start to get almost like this energetic frequency that starts to become more sustainable. You can hold it and you can really connect with it. Once you feel like you have that down, then you can increase it to people you like, people that you're neutral for. You don't really have like or dislike. You just kind of like know them, and then still wishing them well. But then you can move on to people that you don't like, or people that have hurt you in some way. And I feel like doing that, wishing them well, is almost as powerful as forgiving, or probably the same. It's really letting that go, that energetic something that you're holding on to, like that thread that you're holding on to, or that maybe is holding on to you that you're not aware of. And it gives you kind of that ability to let that go, or to at least wish them well. So it kind of has a little bit less of a grasp on you. And it takes time. It's not something that you should do like right away, I don't think, especially if it's something that's really severe. If ever. I mean, it depends on, the severity. So it depends. You'd have to be really ready for it, is what I'm saying. And if it's severe trauma, obviously you need to work with somebody who's professional to talk about that. So we're not talking about those extreme situations for this episode, but I'm talking more about the things that you want to release. Somewhere in your body, you just are ready to release. And that's when you actually get more freedom that way. And they've actually done studies to show that this type of meditation creates a sense of connectedness, and it creates a sense of ease and less depression. All of the things that coincidentally oxytocin creates, that sense of connectedness, that bonding, that feeling of being a part of something. And again, I feel like getting into that connection, that love connection, directly impacts the uterus. So my thing is, I kind of suggest to take it to a step further. Once you do that meditation, you feel that warm and fuzzy feeling in your heart, and you're able to really pass it on and move it out. And even in the beginning stages, start to spread it down into your uterus. So start to feel it in your heart and start to spread it down. Almost feel like it's going through a channel, or like penetrating down into your uterus. Like really see it surround and love, almost like you have a second heartbeat. You feel this heartbeat in your chest, and then you're bringing it down into your uterus. And then you're feeling this kind of like energy spreading, almost like a second heartbeat, and just release it. And I'll tell you something, that is a really, really, really powerful exercise. And I suggest to do it, if you can, as many times as you can, like daily, if, ideal, but at least a couple of times a week. It's really, really powerful. Not only is it going to help, I believe that it's really going to help in general, because everything responds to energy, but it's also going to make you feel more at ease through the journey. It's going to give you more of a peace of mind and more of a centeredness and connection to your intuitive energy, your intuition. So I definitely suggest that. I think it's a really powerful, don't underestimate the power of something that seems so simple. It's really powerful nonetheless. Try it out. That's all I can say is try it out, because you know for sure it's not going to hurt. It may take some time out of your day. That's about it. But the other things that I mentioned are also pretty easy. And you could do the breath of fire. Actually, you could do the shower, massage, breath of fire, and then the meditation. It's a perfect way to complete all three. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope that these exercises will make a difference in your journey. And I thank you so much for tuning in today, and have a beautiful day. So that concludes today's episode. You can find all of the links mentioned on the episode notes. If you're enjoying these episodes, please take a moment to share and leave a review. Reviews mean everything to podcasters, and I really enjoy hearing from my listeners. You can also find me on my website at www.thewholesomelotus.com or email me at info@thewholesomelotus.com. I love hearing from my listeners. If you're interested and want updates as well as a free ebook on my top 10 fertility boosting habits, you can visit my fertility page on www.thewholesomelotus.com. I thank you so much for listening in and hope that you have a beautiful day.